All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, May 16th. Hopefully, y'all are having a good morning so far. SPY is currently down after retail sales this morning and a production report. Production came in better than expected, which is good, but that means that rates are going up. And the retail sales came in lower than expected, but still positive. Retail sales year over year was 1.6% versus 4.2% expected. So much lower than expected. Still positive though, versus 2.4% for the month of March. And then the month over month reading came in at 0.4% versus 0.8% expected, a reversal from negative 0.7% for the month of March. So that's the retail sales. And then we just got the production just about 15 minutes ago. Where it came in positive 0.24% year over year for the month of April versus 0.07% in March. And then the month over month reading positive 0.5% versus negative 0.1% expected, and improvement from 0% for the month of March. So manufacturing and production is looking pretty good according to this report. And then retail sales was pretty sizable miss, but still positive. So right now markets are down about 0.3% with the S&P futures. SPY is currently trading for, $411.75. So bearish start to today so far. Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Dave. Good morning, Peter. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. If we check in on QQQ, let's see what this is trading at. It's been trading around 326 for the last 2 days of trading. Yesterday, 326 was like the line in the sand for QQQ. So I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of just trade around that price level first thing in the morning and just jump up and down above and below it. Right now, I do have a call credit spread for SPY, which ought to be profitable first thing this morning. I chose a 313, 314 strike price, 414, 415. I always get it mixed up with Qs trading in the threes, but 414, 415 strike prices right now. SPY is trading for 411.87. In order for it to get back to 414, it would need to recover that 0.25% that it's down right now, and then another 0.1% in order to be at that strike price. So far, these are up by about 55 or about 50%. And QQQ first candle so far has been green. My computer's a little bit slow today with Thinkorswim. But I'm thinking about opening this put option down here in the bottom right, which is May 19th, 327 put for QQQ. My assumption is probably not going to keep going to new highs given that interest rates are rising, given that RSI right now is, well, I guess it's at 50 right now, so I guess I'll wait here for a minute. And then if we look at the hourly chart, it was below 50 as well. I think we might see a recovery. Yeah, we're at 51 RSI and then about 50 RSI for the 2-day 5 minutes. So I'm going to wait for a confirmation of going below and then make that trade happen. And there is some divergence between QQQ right now and SPY. QQQ down only 0.1% versus SPY right now down 0.3%. All right, these are down to 12. I got them at 22. So it's $10 of profit for each right now. Still going to hold it. But yeah, QQQ right off the jump. Going bullish to 60 for RSI. Getting close to yesterday's close and yesterday's highs, which was 326. I can't really read it here. 326.86 and then 327.03 was yesterday's highs. So reversal first thing in the morning. Gonna check the big names. Apple currently trading at 172.07, finding that support at 171.31, which is about where it's kind of stayed above post earnings. If we look at the hourly chart, hasn't really lost that level yet. That's been the support for after earnings at 171.31. So right now it's bouncing right off of that. Probably going to get back to the middle of its range at like 173, I would imagine. It's only like 60 cents away, so not a huge call there. But that would be my expectations. Maybe reaching the top of the range again, which would be 175-ish, 174.72. Can't wait to lose my mind over another range-bound day. Gotta love this market. You know, for the past 6 weeks, the weekly movement for SPY has been less than 1%. 6 weeks in a row. It is a dreadful, dreadful market for any directional traders. For people on Theta Gang, they're just eating this up. All right, QQQ is just in the positive at 0.02. SPY is still in the negative by 0.25. So pretty decent divergence going on. I think I just accidentally exited out of Thinkorswim. And that's fun. Okay, let me pause my screen share right quick so I can log back in. All right. Might get dinged. Did the markets go up or down? Yeah, I've been wanting to just try like Iron Condor's credit spreads recently and take advantage of the theta burn that's been going on, but at the same time, like at some point this has got to move one direction or the other. Good morning, AA. All right. Back into Thinkorswim. That QQQ put should be a little bit cheaper now, I would think. That we've got that little rally right off the jump. QQQ trading at 327, so these are right at the money. My analysis and why I wanted to enter it, though, was because of bearish sentiment with below 50 RSI. Right now it's trading just above it at 55 for the hourly chart and probably well above it for the daily or the 5-minute charts at 64. So not really the best trade to take right now, but we can wait a little bit longer, see if we can snag this at a good time. In terms of prices, you're definitely getting a good price for the puts. But the likelihood of the trade working out is lower. So, not willing to take that chance right now. Looks like we ended up finding our top at yesterday's high, roughly. Exactly at the high, 327.03. Versus yesterday's high at the same number, 327.03. PayPal is just not having any fun at all. Down 0.7%, down from 78 or about 76 before earnings. That is a rough drop after good earnings. All right, well, SPY is at 412. SPY, we can rely on the ranges. QQQ, not so much because it keeps wanting to push up. Every single day, it seems like it just wants to keep going a little bit, just barely higher. So I think I'm going to just trade SPY today, because QQQ does not want to stop to that upside. All right, we're just below 412 right now for SPY. Yesterday's open was 412.22, close was 413. So I could open maybe another call credit spread, assuming that we're going to be below 413 end of day. Or I could just do an in the money put. We're looking at 40 RSI for the for the 5-minute chart. And then 42 RSI, so both bearish. My problem with SPY, though, is that it just keeps wanting to bounce at about 410. So there's not as much profit to be made in this as opposed to QQQ. If this does end up maybe coming back to its range, there's a little bit more potential profit in that trade. Say if it comes down to like yesterday's low, which was 324, that would be pretty profitable. But right now it's still looking bullish, so not fully confident for that trade. Based on the price levels, it does look good for a put. It looks like we got rejected at the high yesterday and then still below the close of yesterday at 326.86. But I would be much more confident trading SPY to the downside in the next couple of days versus QQQ. Let's see. And I'll probably set my expiration for either tomorrow or Thursday. Gonna look at a 413 strike price, maybe 414. Expiring maybe on Wednesday or Thursday. So tomorrow, the 17th or the 18th. The 413 tomorrow is going for 205. And then for the 18th, Thursday, is going for 230. So you're paying an extra 30 cents for an extra day of trading. Okay. Yeah, let me copy and paste this one. These are going for 234. The lowest that they've been this morning was 220. First 15 minutes has been very flat. Right at 50 RSI though. So that not giving me confidence to make this trade either. Hourly chart definitely below 50. We're at 46. But 5-minute chart not looking as good. Every time that the VIX sees any sort of gain, just gets sold off right away. Every time. It got up to 1770 in the pre-market, and then now it's back down to 1740. VIX just cannot catch any breaks. Trying to hit 327, thinking about buying into it. Yeah. Definitely feels bullish so far this morning. Seems like the market is bound to fall a bit because of the looming debt ceiling issue. Well, the markets are assuming that the debt ceiling is a non-issue because every year it ends up getting passed or delayed, one of the two. So markets aren't so worried about it, and that's why you're seeing the VIX so low at 17 still. SPY's going a little bit higher right now, 412.60. Just went bullish for RSI at 62. All right, so I guess I'm gonna have to get out. I don't know if I want to get out on my call credit spreads just yet. That is a big green candle though. QQQ just went to a new high at 327.66. I think we're getting close to the yearly high, 334. The all-time high was 408. So there's still a long way to get to the all-time highs, but yearly highs are getting very, very, very close. And it just keeps on pushing the range a little bit higher each day, it seems like. Let's check out the 20-day chart. Kind of hard to see where it's at. 327.61. So just barely above the monthly highs, which was 327.27. So given that it's at new monthly highs, I would imagine that today is going to be pretty bullish for QQQ. It's already up by 0.3%. Yesterday, I think it was up 0.3% or so too. Can't really imagine much of a pump though. Like 328, 329 would probably be the point at which it would stop. I don't know if it would reach 330 just yet. It's not too far from it. It's only $2, which is 0.2%. So it would have to be up about 1% roughly in order to get to 330 today. But 10-year treasury rate is up this morning. The VIX is barely up 1%. QQQ up 0.3. SPY only down 0.1% now. Was down 0.3. So probably going to end the day for SPY positive or negative 0.1% as usual. And then let's see, the dollar index kind of flat and down this morning. That means that gold should be doing a little bit hotter, but both gold and the dollar are down this morning. Thinking about getting into some gold leaps, GLD. Surprisingly, IWM is still kind of sinking right now. Down 0.9% almost, so IWM completely diverging from QQQ. There's resistance so far this morning at about 173.55. Right now it's trading at 173.25. Usually IWM tends to trade below 175 down to like 171s ish. So you could make a decent dollar off of that if IWM gets worse today. And right now that is the only bearish trade that looks certain. 32 RSI for the hourly chart and 32 RSI for the 5-minute chart too. So both very bearish. The expiration is going to be Wednesday. All right. The 174 puts are going for 147 with a break even of 172.50. 175s are going for 220 with a break even of 172.80. We're almost to 172.80 already, which could put these in a profit pretty quickly if it does keep slipping here. Those puts are already up by about 100% today, though, since it's down by 1%. Looks like SPY's pulling back some more. 55 RSI, so not bearish just yet. Just above yesterday's open at 412.22. So we'll see if we retest that 412.22 mark. Then maybe we can go short here if it goes below 50 RSI too. Looking at that 413 put, the lowest that these got was 185. They're at 205 right now. And that is for 18th expiration and the 413 strike. Those are already getting expensive. We already dropped right below those levels. All right, well. And these are back to where they were before at about 230 a piece. Oh man. That is a thick candle. Down to 410. Yeah. These are already getting jacked up. All right. Well, I guess we're going to have to go with the QQQ. And the 327 puts expiring for the 19th is what I'm looking for. They're going for 200 right now. It's about where they were this morning. Probably open just 5 of them at 202. They're actually 201. 200. All right. I think I got them at 197. This one will probably be a swing trade, depending on how quickly we fall. New options alert, premium. Just bought a new QQQ 327 put, expiring the 19th, this Friday. And I got them at 197. Now they're at 188. So dropping a little bit. I think I purchased them at 197. Let me double check. Yeah. Okay, my call credit spreads for SPY are getting a little bit better and back down to about 50% profit. Not really sure what really caused that red candle. I don't think there was any news that came out past 3 minutes, but sizable candle to the downside after breaking the 412.22 open of yesterday and then the 412 mark, and also the low of day so far. All right, QQQ right at 327.23, so just above yesterday's high. That's where it ended up catching some support. My guess will probably end up clearing yesterday's high, maybe going back to break even. And if we do get a decent size sell-off here, I'll probably get out of this put. These puts were going for 246 on the open when Q's was trading at 326, so it would have to drop a full dollar, which is pretty tough in this market to get QQQ to fall. QQQ to fall about $1. What percent profit am I looking to take out? My guess is probably about 15 to 20%. So that would put these at 197 times 115, about 226 to about 236. In order to get that, they would need QQQ to be trading at about 326.50 or so. I could maybe hold it for a little bit longer too. I mean, given that price action is definitely reverting, especially for SPY, definitely going bearish. But QQQ is yet to see a decent sell-off. It still has that support right about 327 at the moment. Right in the middle between yesterday's close and yesterday's high. Let's see the big names. Apple pulling back a little bit from its high at 173 to 172.76. It might manage to retrace half of what it gained down to like 172. I don't think that it'll end the day at 171.31, the bottom of the range. But It could happen if there's enough selling volume. Today is supposed to be the day that McCarthy and Biden are speaking, so if we don't get any updates on that, that might cause some panic by the end of the day. How about TQQQ? TQQQ is the bullish one. You could do puts on it. I'm not a huge fan of trading leverage ETFs with options personally, just because the time decay, you basically get double the time decay, which is not ideal. Like, I've been trading UVixy calls and puts, but the options just lose their value so quickly as QQQ just continues to ride down. So I would say it's better to be a seller for triple leverage or leverage ETF options rather than a buyer for them. All right, my SPY call credit spreads are up 60%. They're down to 9 cents a piece. SPY's at 411.65, regaining some of what it lost. QQQ, same thing. 327.27 right now. Seems like anytime the markets sell off by more than like 0.3%, they just end up trying to regain it. Let's see, IWM is still getting whacked right now, down 1.15%. So this would have been the better short versus the QQQ. Right now, QQQ is just finding that support right at yesterday's high and yesterday's close. Not sure if it'll break yet, but 60 on the RSI, so still bullish. Hourly chart, it's at 58, so that's bullish. Got a SPY 410 put. Don't know if it's going to hit 409. No, I did not read your question. Ice cold. Let's see. What do I think about trading? Oh, 24.5. I think that it's going to be an absolute mess. I think that the bid-ask spreads are going to be terrible. And people are going to get ripped off 24/7 or 24/5. Market maker. I'm very steady, fast, and calm. Me when my calls lose 1%, panic. Oh no. Not a 1%. Yeah, I'm not sure if SPY will hit 409. That would be a pretty steep drop. Especially for today. I wouldn't imagine that we would lose another 0.5%. That would put us down like 0.9%. After today's data, I don't think it's that big of news. So my guess, probably not going to get back down to 409 today. maybe sometime by the end of the week, Wednesday, Thursday. I could see that maybe. But today, I think that would be a bit of a stretch assumption. All right, let's check SPY if there's any news coming out. Nope, nothing here. We do have some more business inventories, negative 0.1% versus 0.1% expected. That would be if there's more coming off the shelves. That would mean that they can raise prices, so that would be inflationary. So you'll probably see a positive reaction for the 10-year. If it does react to that, I don't really pay attention to USA business inventories. I haven't even seen that report. Let's see. And then other news, NAHB housing market index, 50 versus 45 expected, so that's better. But I don't think that these two results are going to impact the markets today. The big report was the retail sales this morning. And then production, I would say, would be the second biggest report. These 10 a.m. reports don't really mean too much. Am I using indicators or just using trends? So I'm using RSI just to determine what the trend is, whether it's bullish or bearish. Right now for the hourly chart, SPY is bearish. It has just been trading between 40 and 60 RSI, so that could just be neutral to where we end, the next couple of days around 50 and probably just sticking to that 412, maybe 413 strike prices would be my guess. Just because it wants to go up and down between about 409, 410 up to resistance recently at about 413, 414. AMD is up 3% today. Is that trading at $100 yet? Yeah. It finally broke that $100 mark, so that's pretty substantial. I wonder what Nvidia's doing in the meantime. 292. God, Nvidia, dude. This thing does not stop. It ended up breaking this high at about 290. There's another resistance at about 310, and then you have the all-time highs at 346. It's only about $50 away from all-time highs for a $300 stock, so it needs to go up. That's not right. Another 16% to reach all-time highs. Nvidia just does not stop ever. It's an impossible stock to short, I feel like. Feels like Tesla back in 2020. GEHC, I don't think I've heard of it. Oh, General Electric Healthcare. Yeah, they're up 2.9% today. Got some upgrades from Oppenheimer. $97 price target, so they're expecting the stock to go up 20 over 77. Another 25%. Year to date, this is up from, let's see, where is year to date? Okay, up from 60 to 76. So yeah, been performing pretty good. Healthcare generally performs well during times of recession just because it's not going to slow down. People still need to go to the doctor. So that could be a good stock. I also like Thermo Fisher in the healthcare space. This one's a little bit cheaper relative to the past year of trading at 522 versus the lows at 475. All right, well, it looks like QQ wants to keep going up today. With AMD and Nvidia rising as much as they are, wouldn't be too surprised if this is just bullish all day. But SPY right now is still down 0.25%. And IWM down 1.15%. So QQQ is the only bullish ETF as of right now. Dow is even down 0.5%. So very strange to see that QQQ is the only positive one. Especially given how close or how high it's already ran year to date from 261 to 327. Remember those Tesla days? Yeah, Tesla was a runner back in summer of 2020 and throughout 2021. Let's see, Tesla, the 5-year chart. Yeah, back in 2020, this went from $30 a share pre-split to $295 within a year. Literally a 10x in valuation in 1 year. Absolutely insane. And then it went all the way up to 414. Again, pre-split numbers. $500,000 from Tesla. Rip. Yeah, Tesla will screw everybody over. I lost $12,000 on Tesla once, trading around their battery day back in, what was it? Was it 2020 or 2021? I think it was 2020, September 2020. Lost $12,000 in like 2 weeks. That was one of my worst, that is my worst trade that I've ever made. Do I think we'll ever see a market like that again? Not for a while, I think. Just given how the Fed has been so restrictive lately, I don't think that they can afford to be non-restrictive for a while. I think that they're probably going to have to keep rates high for years to come. I don't think that we're going to go back to ZIRP or zero interest rate policy for probably a decade. But I don't know, with Jerome Powell at the helm, the same person that let off of quantitative tightening as soon as the markets fell, like, what was it, 10-15% back in 2018? It could happen. Worst trade ever made yet. Thank you, Dave. Thank you for your confidence in me. I appreciate it. I can always do worse. So what happens is SPY and QQQ if the US dollar defaults would be pretty tragic for the market, I would think. I mean, from what I've seen, the estimates are that we would lose something along the lines of 8 to 10 million jobs, I think. Right now, we have a population of, well, I guess you can't use the population number, but But that would send the unemployment number from 3.5% or whatever it is right now, 3.4%, the last reading, to something along the lines of like 10% if the U.S. does end up defaulting. And then the credit markets, bonds, that would be absolute chaos. We've already had a chaotic bond market with as much as they've been fluctuating. And that would just make it that much worse. I don't think that anybody would probably want to invest in U.S. bonds anymore if the U.S. ends up defaulting, just because the rates are just going to go insane. A lot of volatility, so you don't know what you're going to get for the rates. And that's, one of our main exports in the United States is our debt and bonds. Other countries buying our bonds and financing our activities. So, wouldn't exactly be great. If a debt ceiling gets raised, does it go up? So I think the two scenarios that you could get is the U.S. defaulting or more inflation, because inflation is generally caused by excess government spending and too much money being into the economy, and you still have the same number of goods. If you have $1,000 to buy 1,000 apples, then the apples are going to be $1 each. But if you have, say, $1,000 to buy, if you have $1,500 now to buy 1,000 apples, then those apples are going to be $1.50. Unless people end up saving their money, but America's not really able to save their money, especially right now with inflation being as bad as it is. So it's a pretty precarious situation that we've found ourselves in with the debt limit. If they do, they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. You're going to get inflation if they do, and then if they don't, then you get a default. So the US dollar is kind of screwed either way. Yeah, SPY's dropping hard right now. QQQ is coming down a little bit. These contracts are going for $230 a piece. I'm up 115. So I think I'll take profits for that one. I opened 5 of them. They're going for $220. I'd like to get out at $225 if possible, but QQQ is a tough one. Let's check the big names. Apple is back down to about half of this morning's gains from 171 to 173. Let's see the other big names. Tesla's down to 165. Microsoft retracing about half of its gains too. Nvidia still hanging up there. It would have to come down to about 290 to give up half of its gains. Actually, I think a little bit lower. 283 to 293. That's a $5 move. Sorry, 288 to 293. So yeah, it needs to come down to about 290. What other names are there? Meta's been performing pretty well the last couple of days. 230 to 240. But pretty flat after the earnings. Not really moving either direction. Does seem like it wants to go bearish at 44 RSI for the hourly chart. 5-minute chart down to 40. But my guess is that you're going to get a range for the big tech names today. They're just probably going to go up and down. For Meta, probably 235 to maybe 238, 239. All right, they dropped those puts on me down to 210. So yeah, should have sold those at 225. on that pop. Still up by about $50 right now. But QQQ coming back to where it was. SPY's down 0.5%, but QQQ is at break even. That's crazy. Everybody's just rotating into big tech, I'm assuming, is what's going on here. It's the only thing that I could say to explain it. I personally wouldn't want to be in the year-to-date gainers, top gainers. I feel like that would put more pressure to the downside, but not what the markets believe recently. Very nice, AA. Sharp sell-off early in the day, followed by a large bounce every day since last week, yeah. I mean, the markets just want to trade flat pretty much every single day. So if you do get a decent sell-off in the morning, it just rebounds. If you get a rally in the mornings, it usually sells off at the end of the day to where it's just about break even. SPY's at down 0.5%, so usually it only ends the day like down plus or minus 0.1%. All right, QQQ back to 327 here again. We'll see if this is a resistance. We finally broke past, but did not hold that as a resistance. All right, back to 327.10. Yeah, they just keep on wanting to keep Qs up today. SPY not so much. Still down 0.4%, so I think I'm going to close out of my call credit spreads. They're going for 80 profit, $6 a piece. I got 5 of them. The ask right now is 7. And it looks like Q's just bounced right off of 50 RSI here. So that's not looking good for our puts. Trying to get out of these call credit spreads at 6, but they're trading for 7 at the ask, so either I need to wait closer to the end of the day or SPY needs to drop here. I think I'll just close it now at 7. Give up $5 of profit. Well, there we go. There we go. Closed out of that. Closing options alert. Premium members. Just took profits on the SPY call credit spread. Expiring today. 5/16. At how much each? 7. Here comes Tesla. Let's see. What, did it find that support at 165? Now it's going to rally. Of course. It's been the support for the last 2 days. Resistance before. Back in early May, late April. After the earnings report, that was resistance, and now that's support. IWM is still feeling it, down 1.3% today. Very tough day for IWM. Probably going to catch a bounce at about 171-ish. 170, 171 would be my guess. Similar to SPY, I guess just similar to SPY. It's just been trading range bound towards the bottom of its range for the past month, though. Between about 170, 171, and 175 at the top. So basically, anytime it goes to 175, he's short. Anytime it goes to 171, go long. Seems to be the trade for both SPY and IWM. QQQ, you can't really get a range on it. But let's see, for SPY, the range 409, 410 at the lows, 413, 414 at the highs. I wonder if I can get a decent credit on a credit spread, assuming that we're going to keep trading in that range. Let me check the economic calendar, see if there's anything important coming out tomorrow. I don't think there's anything big. There's a lot of data, but nothing is market moving. Thursday, you're looking at jobless claims at 8:30. Philly Fed manufacturing, that should be pretty big, actually. So, yeah, I think I'm just going to do an iron condor that expires tomorrow, the 17th, for SPY. Since it's trading at 411, we'll get more for the puts, assuming that it's going to stay above 410. Those are already paying 21 cents, and then adding in the calls, assuming below 413, you're getting another 10 cents. So total of 32-cent credit to assume we're going to be between 410 and 413 tomorrow. I feel like I'm not getting enough for that call. Only 12 cents in credit for it. It's pretty low, I feel like. Let's see. If I do a put credit spread that expires today, that's paying 20. Oh, I didn't have tomorrow's expiration, so that's why the credit was so low. That would be a good trade, though. For 30 cents credit, I'm liking that trade. We're right smack dab in the middle at 411.52. call side is what's got me worried right now. If we do go back up to 413, that could happen, just given that the markets continue to want to break even each day. Wouldn't be too surprised if we're at yesterday's close at 413.03. That would send these contracts to about 40 cents each, I'm guessing. So that'll probably be my stop loss. Closing these at 30 cents or 40 cents each. The bid ask on it is kind of wide at 35 and 31. So that's not great, but let's see if I can open it first at 32. They're not filling me at the bid yet. The bid is at 31. 329, 330 for QQQ. Let's see, QQQ is trading at 327 right now, so that would be a little bit higher than where it's at. I think a put credit spread for QQQ would probably suffice just for the next couple of days, because every day just wants to go higher, like I said. All right, let me try to do this iron condor again at 31 cents. That's still not opening. There we go. All right. Just opened a new SPY iron condor expiring today, 5/16 at 31. All right, looks like we're going right back up. So that's going to push QQQ higher. Back up to 412. These are going for 34 each, so I could have got a couple cents more credit if I'd given a little more time. But right now, just below that 412 level. Yesterday's open at 412.22 is going to be another resistance. And then between now and then, you got that 413.03 level. QQQ is just pressing higher right now, so that's probably what's keeping SPY afloat. We're just hitting a new daily high at 328.02. Pulling back on that test. So I think probably QQQ, I don't know, assuming below 329 could be okay. After that test, if it does come back down to the highs of yesterday, that would be 327. Usually we don't get these big of candles, but it's been a pretty decent morning for a little bit of momentum, just kind of trading back and forth though. Can we see AMD falling? It's at 101.76. If it does pull back today, I would think that it would get some support probably around 99, that $100 level probably. It's very hot for RSI at 77, so super bullish. Hourly chart, same thing at 84 RSI, so super bullish there. So if you're following sentiment, I would definitely say AMD would continue to go up. It's already up 4%, so it's already up a ton. If you haven't got into that trade already, assuming that it's going to keep going up. Can you tell me if there's too many indicators on your chart? Yeah. Go for it. Personally, I stick to like 1-2 indicators at most. RSI is my most used one. It's very simple to read. Above 50, that's bullish. Below 50 is bearish for RSI. And then you have overbought, oversold, but stocks can stay overbought or oversold for an indefinite amount of time, so you can't really say that it's going to sell off as soon as it goes overbought or get bought up as soon as it goes oversold. Bullish bearish volume indicator. You can use that. I mean, volume is definitely important, especially if you're looking at options. If there's a decent rise in volume, usually you see a pump for the option, like this candle right here, ton of volume compared to any of the previous ones, and you saw this go from 198 all the way to 230 in a matter of 5 minutes, and then the previous high for volume, it went from 165 to 200. So volume is definitely important, especially when it comes to options. You can see a decent rise, and this is a decent volume candle right here too, so you might see something similar. So far it's only changed from 158 to 176. Yeah, double top on QQQ so far at 328 and some change. Yeah. Bearish volume is increasing a little bit here. Let's see. 2 sell candles. but it's not that significant of volume yet. At least for the 5-minute chart. SPY is getting hit a little bit more than Qs right now, down to 411.25. Looking more bearish at 42 for RSI. And we peaked right at 412, just above 412 at 412.11. 2 times. So double top for both Qs and SPY. Let's just name every indicator. Yeah, Fibonacci's can be useful. I usually use Fibonacci's on like very long time frames. The only Fibonacci level that I have on my chart is from the March 2020 COVID bottom to the bull market highs. And this has been pretty reliable for the past year. Anytime that it's gone to about 418.21, it's ended up pulling back from it. And then lots of support down at the 380 Fibonacci level. And it's just been trading in that range since, well, I guess up in that range since the beginning of the year. That 413 put would have been nice to open early this morning at 225. They're going for 278 for tomorrow's or Thursday's expiration. Oh, we got one of the Fed members speaking right now. Most people I talk to anticipate a downturn in coming quarters. When it comes to downsizing business, cautious and reluctant to let their staff go. Expects unemployment rate forecast to come down a bit. Flows are stable at banks, encouraged by the resilience. Sound and resilient banks. There's a lot of data until June, so they haven't made a decision. And last comment says, I like the optionality implied in the statement from last meeting. So they didn't give us any guidance at the last meeting, so he likes that they didn't give any guidance. which has left the markets in limbo lately, just trading back and forth with no clear direction. Let's see, that meeting was May 3rd, I want to say. Yeah. We sold off and then bounced right back up and have been trading flat ever since. I want to check in on, let's see, the FOMC countdown, which will show us what the odds for the next meeting are. I'm doubtful that it changed. Actually, there's a decent rise in the chance of another rate hike at the next meeting to 23.6%, up from 20% yesterday and 16% a month ago. Could have swore it was at like 16 this weekend, but yeah, decent odds of 25 basis points for the next meeting. It seems to be climbing with each new data report that we've been getting, so that could be what's weighing us down this morning, especially with the rates going up. 10 years back up to 3.6 almost, but it's just been in the range between 3.6 and 3.3 for the past month, so there's not really much change. Yeah, QQQ is just finding itself between 327 and 328 this morning, it seems like. Might just chop around there for the rest of the day. We'll watch out for yesterday's low for SPY at 410.23. Just in case we slip. Don't want to get caught off sides with my iron condor. The heck? RSI for GHC is 53.4. Yeah, so that's about neutral for GAHC. 68 for the day, or for the 5-minute chart, and then for the daily chart, currently at 43. For the hourly chart, 70. So doing well in the hourly and the 5-minute chart. Well, it's not been doing so well for the past month. Down from 83 to 77. So this is just a little bit of a recovery after falling so much post earnings. IWM looks like it might be recovering a little bit. Went to 172.30 and then it ended up bouncing to 173 here. So back to the middle of its range too. Between 171 and 175. I guess unless we get any bad data, that's probably just going to keep going back and forth between 175 and 171. All right. This looks like Apple is recovering after falling from 173 to 172. Microsoft still trading in the high end of the range today. So it looks like tech is doing okay. With Qs just trading back and forth between 327 and 328. I do got a couple more days till expiration for my puts. And I think there's a good chance that we come back below 327. Maybe in the next couple of days. Check out Google. Yeah, I always forget about Google and Meta. Yeah, Google is up 2%. It's a very nice day. Trading at the daily highs almost at 119.26 versus the high at 119.37. Might be forming a double top. This one's been rallying for the last, let's see, few days, I guess. Well, it had that rally from 108 to 117, then it's been stalling, and now it might be shaping up for another one. Yeah, trend is definitely bullish here for the Googs. Do I ever consider how other markets perform, like Shanghai, FTSE? No, not really. I just pay attention to the U.S. data and the U.S. markets for the most part. Sometimes the European close will have some impact between like 11 and 12 o'clock, but I don't really pay attention to it myself. QQQ is at the top of the range, still right above 327.50. So that's probably going to be your line in the sand, and where we trade back and forth today is 327.50, I'm guessing. Just above and just below it. SPY seems to want to go lower, but kind of the same price action between 410.70 and 412.20, about $1.50 range for SPY as of right now. But yeah, surprisingly, QQQ is up 3.3%. SPY's down 0.4, Dow is down 0.7, and IWM down 1. So, big tech is the only thing that's doing well today. What else has impact? Link the economic calendar. Events with 2 or 3 stars have more impact. All right, we're retesting 328 here again for Qs. We'll see if we break it this time. This will be a triple top if it doesn't. Let's see. This is still in that last hour. All right, we broke 328. No, we tagged it. Okay. And still pushing higher. Let's see what the delta for my puts are. Delta is -40. They're trading at 145, so that would send them up or down 40. So they could be trading, if it keeps going to 329, that would put them at $1 a piece. And if it goes back to 327, that will put them at about 180, 190-ish. But yeah, QQQ is just non-stop these days. Fang T holding up the entire market. Exactly. The only stocks that are doing well this year. Tesla, kind of dodgy, but for the most part, it's up year to date, I think. Yeah, it's up from like 100 to 170. So it's up 70%, but it was trading closer to 200 at one point. That would be really bullish for NASDAQ, but yeah, Facebook, Meta, this one's up from 116 to 238. That doubled in price. That's crazy. Meta, Apple is up from 124 to 172. What's interesting is Apple has been kind of trading flat since they ended up peaking at 182. It's just been going back and forth between 180 and 120. So if you're looking at the long-term time frame, that could be a decent short opportunity. But recent sentiment for big tech has just been up and away non-stop. So it's a hard trade to take. But I would want to say that range would hold below 180. Amazon's up from 84 to 113. So $30 increase there. That's pretty good. Netflix, not doing as hot as the rest of the gang. Still up from 280 or 290 to 330. But not nearly as much as the other big tech names, it seems. All right. So Q's ended up going to 328.39. Very bullish for RSI at 64 right now. And right at where we had the double top before at 328. A lot of volume that went into that pump right there too. So probably going to retest 328. My guess, if we keep seeing more volume here, we're going to stay below it. But if volume slows down, then we might end up holding 328. My iron condors are just flat right now. Even after I opened them, about an hour ago? They're about break even with SPY trading at 411.40. So it's right where I want it in terms of price. In terms of timing, you want it closer to the end of the day so you get the time decay out of your 410 and 413 strikes. Zero data expiration condors. That's what I have for SPY right now, yeah. $190,000 short on NASDAQ. That's crazy. Yeah, that's the best trade in this market is condors all day long. Markets don't want to move in either direction. Besides QQQ. That one you're probably best suited with put credit spreads. All right, there's a decent volume building up for these puts now. 157. So let's see if we get a decent drop for Qs. It's right at that 328 level, so some support's there. Yeah, a lot of people just buying it right at 328. A 1 week expiration. Yeah, the markets have been plus or minus 1% each week for the past 6 weeks, so iron condors on a weekly basis would be good. I don't know about this week's expiration. I think this week's expiration could be a little dodgy depending on the debt ceiling talks. If they get pushed back to the end of the week, you're getting close to the June 1st X date. So that might cause the markets to have a little bit of concern, but right now the VIX is still, below 18, so not really much fear in the market yet. Too much indicators. Let's see, Justin. I would say moving averages is good. Not sure what the bottom of that is. Can't really tell. Looks like a... I don't know, I've never used that indicator before. But yeah, everybody's going to use different indicators. Moving averages are pretty good for determining trends and where the market is trading relative to where it's been. I like to use relative strength for that. I feel like it's just the simplest reading of determining bullish or bearish. All right, QQQ still holding above 328. Dipped down below it again to 370, 327.92. But continued to push the highs for right now. All right. Yeah, they're sinking these puts right now down to 145. I wonder how Target is doing before their earnings. Trading at 160. Similar action to Home Depot. Expected range is between 170 at the top and 146. Trading almost smack dab in the middle of it. A little bit of positive change in the last 2 days. From 158 to 160. I'm thinking Target might do worse on earnings. Let's see what their last one was. 189 versus 139 expected. That was actually a good earnings. Very good. 154 versus 210 before. A year ago, they were doing 219 versus 3 expected. And let me see what they're expecting for this season on Target. 175. So small decrease from last quarter. And a pretty decent decrease from a year ago. I don't think that's a trade I want to take. Let's see. The yearly action has just been kind of flat. Basically right in the middle of the expected range too. There's been some pops above it, but those were short-lived. Maybe Iron Condor would be best fit for it. Between 170 and 146. I don't think you'll get much credit. Let's see. Target. I'm getting paid $104 for $5 strike difference on the calls, and then 146. If we go 5 wide with that, down to 141. Getting paid a total of $158 for $500 collateral. So you're risking $350 to make $150 for an Iron Condor. Not really good in terms of risk reward. So that's a trade I think I'll skip out on. Alright, well, I think I got all my trades in for today. Might close out of the put if we go too much higher. These are down already by about 50 apiece. Let's see. It's just super bullish for the 5-minute chart. 67 RSI would have been better to go long. May Maybe we still can for today's expiration. That's 327 calls for 519 are up a ton. From $2 at open to $2.94. And if we go with a 328 strike, they're going for $2.35. Recent lows at $2.22. Okay. All right. So I'll probably make that trade later on today, and I will be back tomorrow at 9:30. See you, everybody. Oh.